Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, we'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 12 of One Punch Man Season 2. For all intents and purposes, the Season 2 finale of One Punch Man, and this was just, once again, gangbusters, following on from the previous episode, which was pretty much, bar none, the best episode of Season 2 for me. I think that still stands even after this finale. Like, the finale was spectacular, but just being so much brought to the edge of my seat in the previous episode with everything that was going on with Garo and fighting the heroes and, Genos getting in there and Silver Fang and his brother getting in there toward the end and all that kind of stuff. Like, it was top tier. It was top notch. And as I say, this episode does, of course, follow on from that with Silver Fang pointedly going after Garo. And just the stakes are amped up every other frame, every other cell of animation, where it's just like, what's going to happen? I mean, I'm wondering, they really staved off Saitama's coming and getting involved until the last freaking second. And I was wondering the whole time, I figured he was going to be part of the end game, but how? How was it going to play out? I was somewhat surprised that the whole Monster Association thing and the whole Garo thing didn't actually get fully resolved. It was left in somewhat of a cliffhanger for potentially a third season coming down the pike or something along those lines. I can only hope. But at the same time, it was still oddly satisfying because, this big Sentachoro villain returns in this episode, and, you see Silver Fang and his brother and Genos, they're unleashing holy hell on this thing. They seemed to nuke it at first, but then it only molted and then became stronger, bigger and stronger, more threatening. And it was absurd. It was insane. And just like, I was like, okay, Saitama, get involved. Show up at some point. Get in here. You're going to be the guy who does it. Seeing that bird from the Monster Association dragging, Garo off and reflecting back on the whole backstory of him, going back to his school days. The characterization of Garo in this season has just been so engrossing and so captivating to me. This whole second season, it was almost, the Garo show. And I'm not complaining because it was really fascinating. It was very in-depth, that characterization, the gravitas, that was going on there. And to see how he sort of takes that pain that he felt in youth, and he utilizes that for this refreshed resolve against Silver Fang and Silver Fang's brother, and even Genos, that kind of thing, and just he becomes like Super Saiyan. Or something like that. Genos, of course, is classifying him as being a full-on monster now, not really wholeheartedly perceiving the depths that's going on internally with Garo, that we, the viewer, are being given these insights and everything like that, to see that it is resolved. It's not that he has been, modified by the Monster Association at all. But much as I assumed and I speculated, I spoke about in a previous episode discussion video, the Monster Association, they're coming and calling. They want Garo. They want to utilize him as their chief champion, probably. Transmogrify him, transform him into a full-on monster. And at this point, it would almost kind of be painful to see that, because I'm kind of hoping for some level of redemption for Garo, because most of his backstory is just misunderstanding after misunderstanding. And as somebody who, in middle school, the worst time of my life, the worst middle school I was ever in my life, who was subject to bullying, and whenever I would retaliate and fight back, stand up for myself, or I wouldn't do anything, I would be called to the office and I would be pointedly asked, very much akin to Garo was in these flashbacks in this episode. It would be all on me. It would be like, what did you do to start the fight? Why were you causing problems? Why weren't you participating and getting all the other kids upset? Rather than, oh, I'm actually the one being bullied. I'm actually the victim here. No, I was turned into the bad guy. And so I could really relate to that aspect of Garo's past, and it just made it that much more that I'm rooting for Garo. I want to see him, flip over a new leaf or something, be given a new lease on life, something, like attain some level of purchase for the greater good, for the better, for some level of satisfaction, rather than having him just become an all out and out villain monster and that kind of thing. I did think it was utmost clever that the way they did stave off Saitama's getting involved toward the very end using King, and it's funny that they were talking about, you know, the unseen hero Blast, because this episode, this whole season, the second season of One Punch Man has been a thorough blast, and this finale episode was no exception. It was a thorough blast from beginning to end, and you know, they did not sort of pull any punches, no pun intended, as far as the twists and turns and surprises went. It didn't quite go exactly how I thought it would go, and leaving it open-ended the way it did. Some people may be banner waving, you know, their disappointment and saying it was a letdown, it was garbage. People have already voiced having problems with the animation for the second season and everything, not being on par, on the same level as season one. But for me, it was palatable. It did its job. It was very serviceable for the story, and the story and the comedy and that kind of thing, the action, the gravitas, again, the depth of character of Garo and surrounding characters, and seeing Genos trying to achieve greatness and sort of being specious in how he needs to go about it, and you know, King's involvement at all was just spectacular. He very much faced up to and owned up to the circumstances, all the while, you know, his fist is like shaking out of nervousness and everything. Like that, he's distraught. And when he sees that Genos is actually looking to Saitama as this end-all be-all that he needs to strive toward, King is losing his ever-loving mind. He's like, don't base your life around Saitama, please, you're crazy, you know. It's like, he's right. He's absolutely right. But so yeah, this was a dope sauce finale. It was a dope sauce second season. I'm sorry to see it go, and I can only hope that we don't have to wait another number of years before we get a continuation, a third season or something like that. You know, it would be great to get an announcement that 2020, you know, latter half of 2020, Season 3 of One Punch Man is going to be debuting. I have no idea what's going on in the source material, the manga, or anything like that. Never read any of it. Don't have any idea what the next chapter beholds. But I'll be waiting with bated breath for the anime form of that story to unfold at some point in the future, hopefully. Fingers crossed. And so yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of Season 2 overall of One Punch Man. Love it or hate it, anything goes in the comments below. And if you happen to enjoy this video and would like to consider supporting my channel, please have a look at my PayPal support link posted both in the description as well as the comments below. It affords you opportunities very much akin to Patreon, where you can set up a monthly recurring contribution, a one-time only kind of thing. You can send me a personal message with any contribution you send my way, requesting topics I may discuss in the future, ask for shoutouts, or make recommendations of things I may check out, and would inevitably shout you out down the line if I happen to discuss. And anything you saw fit to send my way would be 2 thumbs up for me in securing my longevity on YouTube for the foreseeable future, and just be very much appreciated. But yeah, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later.